Okay, it's been about a month, and so it's time to pick up on a couple more lessons. We'll be starting on lesson number 13 out of the College of Pipe and Green book on this one. We'll split this lesson into two different ones. First, we'll go over the two embellishments, and then we'll go over the first part of the tune for lesson 13, which is Carls with the Breeks. The first movement, or the first embellishment, is a loom-loo or loom-lua, also called a grip. At least in my area, we tend to call this a grip more than anything else. It's not, the concept of it is not that hard, but getting it clean, getting it consistent can be kind of difficult if you're not very careful and spend a lot of time on it. And it's also a building block for the next one, which is the torlua. So how your loom-lua or your grip goes, so will your loom-lua or your torlua. Anyway, the basic part of the grip is going to be a low G, D grace note back to low G. Okay, that's the basic part. That's the grip. That's all it is right there. Then you just play that from a note to a note. So you've just got two melody notes with a low G, D grace note back to low G in the middle. The example that's shown on page 51 of the Green Book starts on an E, so it's an E, low G, D grace note, back to low G, back to an E. Sometimes the grip will be from and to the same melody note, and there will be times where the melody note that you start from, and maybe an F, grip to an E. So what they all have in common is the quick low G, D grace note, low G, back to a melody note. So here's the first one that they show on page 51. E, low G, D grace note, low G, back to E. Okay, that's all it is. The next little part of the notation there, they show it coming from an F, high G, and high A. Again. One melody note to another melody note, low G, D grace note, low G, melody note in the middle. They all have that in common. To give even a further example of that, I have the Piper's Helper, one of my favorite exercise books from John Recknagel. I like it because it's inexpensive. It's got exercises for just about everything other than barrels, and there's not a lot of talking, a lot of words, and a lot of drawings. It's just lots of exercises. So anyway, here's a little bit of the exercise from that one to give you an idea of these grips. And the goal is that the low G, D grace note, low G is consistent through all of them. Okay, that's the first two lines out of all of that. Now I will give you, if you'll notice on that, sometimes the beginning, the melody note you came from and went to were different. I will give you an exception. There is an exception for those who are not competing, especially solo. You know, in parade bands and stuff, you don't necessarily have to do this. I would suggest that you do, just because it's correct. But you don't have to. So, but the exception is, since you're doing a low G, D grace note to low G, what happens if you're on a D, properly formed D, and you want to do a grip? Do you do a D, low G, D grace note, low G, back to D? The exception is when you're coming from a D, low G, B. Okay, you see which finger I'm moving here? It's this one, not this one, this one. Okay? And at the bottom of this exercise, you'll have that. Okay, and that will follow over into the Torlua as well. So that's going to be the exception for that one. Let me do the third and fourth line maybe a tad faster on this, and we'll probably actually be splitting this lesson 13 into 3. The first one will be the grip, second one will be the Torlua, and then the third one will be Carls with the breaks. The goal on that's almost like a basketball. Ba-bum, ba-bum. Anyway, that is the grip. Look through it, learn it from the tutor, and then find you some exercises and perfect them from the exercises.